trying to get us out of here before Friday. With that, the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan, is recognized.
Mr. Horowitz, does Peter Strzok like the president?
I can only speak to what his text messages say, and they're obviously not positive comments about the president.
February, March of 2016, Peter Strzok said, Trump's abysmal, Trump's an idiot, he's a bleeping idiot, Hillary should win 100 million to 0. Sounds to me like he hates the president.
His text messages would certainly leave that as the implication.
Your report says Strzok ran the Clinton investigation on a daily basis. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
And Peter Strzok, in your report, he was the lead investigator on the Russian investigation. Is that true?
That's my understanding for the time period he was on.
So the guy, he ran the Clinton investigation, he runs the Russian investigation, and he hates the president, but your report says while his bias cast a cloud, it didn't impact final decisions. Is that accurate?
It didn't impact the prosecutor's final decision.
Right. Let's look at a few other things Peter Strzok had to say. On May 4th, 2016, the day after President Trump secures the Republican nomination, Mr. Strzok says, now the pressure really starts to finish the Clinton investigation. I'm not sure why the pressure would be more or less the day after. It seems to me you want to just do the investigation. On July 31st, as was mentioned earlier, the FBI opens the Russian investigation. 1 week later, Peter Strzok says, I can protect my country on many levels. 2 days after that, he says, we will stop Trump. 1 week after that, he says, no way he gets elected. It's like an insurance policy. So think about this, Mr. Horowitz. Peter Strzok opens, the FBI opens the Russia investigation on July 31st, 2016. Peter Strzok is the lead investigator. Within the next 15 days, he says, I can protect my country on many levels. No way he gets elected. We will stop him. We have an insurance policy. Now, that seems like, at least I think a lot of regular folks would interpret that as more than just casting a cloud on what the FBI ultimately did. I mean, it's one thing to say Trump's an idiot. It's another thing to say we got an insurance policy. It's one thing to say Trump's awful. It's another thing to say we're going to stop him, especially when those statements are made within 15 days, just days after you've launched an investigation into that individual. Would you agree?
And I think the important thing here is the time period we're talking about, because those messages in the July-August period, which we found extremely concerning and antithetical to the core values of the FBI, concerned, as we noted, the Russia investigation, and as you noted, and that's why we had so much concern about what occurred in late September and October. Exactly.
Mr. Horowitz, was Peter Strzok put on Special Counsel Mueller's team?
He was.
So again, the guy who hates the president, the guy who ran the Clinton investigation, the guy who ran the Russian investigation, then gets assigned to the special counsel team. Do you know what date, Mr. Horowitz, the special counsel was named?
I believe it was around May 17th.
May 17th, 2017. May 17th, 2017. Mr. Horowitz, do you remember what Peter Strzok said on May 18th, 2017?
I do. It's in our report on page 405.
I unleashed it on the mid-year exam, this one?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now I need to fix it and finish it. There's unfinished business, and this could be an investigation leading to impeachment. That's what he said the day after?
Correct.
Again, don't you think that sounds and looks a little bit like to regular Americans a little bit more than just casting a cloud on the overall investigations?
Again, I'd go back to what the report concerned, which was the Clinton email investigation, which was concluded about a year earlier with Director Comey's announcement. But it's precisely why we were concerned about what occurred in late September and October, when Mr. Strzok had the choice between working on the Russian investigation or on the Wiener laptop Clinton investigation.
He was prioritizing one over the other.
Chose Russia.
Yeah. Let me just finish with this. And this is probably what bothers me. More than all what we just went through. More than that, probably what bothers me the most is Peter Strzok's attitude. I think it's what bothers Americans the most about this whole ordeal. I just want to go to one more text message one more thing Mr. Strzok said. This is back in that August time period again. August 26, 2016, Peter Strzok says, just went to a Southern Virginia Walmart. I can smell the Trump supporters. This is what ticks Americans off more than anything else. I'm convinced about all this in Clinton investigation, all this Russian investigation, is this idea that there are two sets of rules or two standards. One set of rules for us regular folk who shop at Walmart, but a different set if your name is Clinton, Comey, Lynch, McCabe, or if your name is Peter Strzok. And the arrogance and the condescension and the elitist attitude, that is what ticks people off. And as they look at all this and see what Strzok said throughout these investigations, that's why their confidence is so shaken. And frankly, that's why they're so mad. And that's why we got to get some answers from Mr. Rosenstein and Mr. Wray about this whole ordeal. With that, I yield back, Mr. Chair.
To the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan.
I thank the gentleman. Mr. Horowitz, James Comey, Director of the FBI, Andy McCabe, Deputy Director, Chief of Staff Jim Rubicki, General Counsel Jim Baker, FBI Counsel Lisa Page, and Deputy Head of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok. These were 6 important people at the FBI. Is that right?
Correct.
And they were the key players on the Clinton investigation and on the Russian investigation, correct?
They were certainly important on both.
Has Mr. Comey been fired?
Yes.
Has Mr. McCabe been fired?
Yes.
Did Mr. McCabe lie under oath, according to your report?
In our view, yes.
Yeah. Is there a criminal referral for Mr. McCabe?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Has Mr. Rubicki left the FBI?
Yes.
Has General Counsel Jim Baker left the FBI?
Yes.
Was he removed from his position prior to leaving the FBI?
I'm not sure of that.
Has Lisa Page left the FBI?
Yes.
Was she reassigned prior to leaving the FBI?
I believe so.
And has Peter Strzok been removed from his position as Deputy Head of Counterintelligence?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Horowitz, you've been in the DOJ for 10 years. You've been Inspector General for 6 years. You're chief of all the Inspector Generals. Have you ever seen anything like this at any other federal agency in your time in the federal government? 6 of the top people fired, demoted, reassigned, or left?
I obviously can't speak broadly to other areas that I haven't known before, but yes, this is.
I've been in this town 11 and a half years. I've never seen anything like this. Even the IRS scandal didn't come close. Never. And again, this is not in any type of reflection on the rank and file agents who I know you respect, we all respect, and do a great job. But these were the 6 key people. I have never seen anything like this in my time in government. My guess is there's not a person on this dais who has as well.
Gentleman's time has expired.